Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing my 2022-2023 Premier League predictions. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so starting things out in 20th place and then moving up, we have Bournemouth. Their newly promoted side finished second in the championship last year, which got them automatic promotion. Now, it's hard to get promoted and stay in the Premier League, especially without spending any cash. And they have not been active in the transfer window, especially not with the teams that have gone up with them. And the teams that are already in the Premier League are going to be hard to beat. They do have Solanke, who scored 29 goals in the championship last year. However, he's been in the Premier League before. He's played a total of 63 games, and he's only scored 4 Premier League goals. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the season where he's able to turn things around for them. And I'm just very comfortable with this pick. Bournemouth, 20th place. I definitely cannot see them getting out of the relegation zone. The team who will finish in 19th place is going to be Southampton. Now, over the last 5 years, they've only managed to get above a 15th place finish one time. So they're always a team that's kind of just floating above the relegation zone. They haven't done much in the transfer window. I'm not a huge fan of their defense. I think their attacking options are also pretty shaky. And you just can't rely on James Ward-Prowse, a midfielder, to get 15 goal contributions every season. I'm not sure where the other goals are going to come from. And the teams that have come up are trying to, compete. They've spent some money in the transfer window. They definitely could avoid the drop, but for me, I have them getting relegated. 19th place, they're going to go back down to the championship. Okay, so my last team to get relegated, finishing in 18th place, is going to be Fulham. They've established themselves as a yo-yo club at this point. Over the last 5 years, they've been in and out of the Premier League 5 times. Every time they get dropped, they go back up, drop, go back up. Will this year be any different? I think they're in for a dogfight. It could go either way, but I do have them getting relegated. They've tried to spend some money in the transfer window, and like I've said, it is hard to get promoted and stay back in the Premier League. Usually only about one team is able to do it. They do have a striker. Mitrovic scored 44 goals and assisted 7 times last year in the championship, which is just insane numbers. He's been in the Premier League before, and based on his history, I think he'd be lucky to maybe get 20 goal contributions, which obviously is great numbers, but still that's, I think, his absolute ceiling. Their defense is shaky. This team it's gonna be hard for them to keep clean sheets. They obviously have Anthony Robinson and Tim Ream, who I am gonna enjoy to watch as they are American internationals. However, I just think they're not gonna be able to make it, and so I have them finishing in 18th place. The next team is going to be Brentford, who shocked a lot of people after their first try in the Premier League in 74 years. They not only were able to stay in the league, they finished pretty comfortably in 13th place. And I'm not trying to say that was a fluke by any means, but I do think they're going to be lower, obviously. I've put them in 17th. They relied a lot on a young Ivan Toney, who had 17 goal contributions last year, and I just am not expecting him to be able to replicate that. I think losing Eriksen is going to be huge too. I know he didn't play in every game for the club, but he did bring a lot of Premier League experience, leadership, and when he was on the field, he was arguably their best, not even arguably their best player, he was their best player last season, and he has now gone back to Man United. So I think they're going to be in a dogfight with some of these other teams in order to be able to stay up. I wish them the best, but I do have them finishing in 17th place this season. In 16th place, and the biggest wild card of the whole Premier League, is Nottingham Forest. Before any transfers, I would have put them in dead last. They finished 4th in the championship last season, only made it up through the playoffs. But after not being in the Premier League in 23 years, they have decided to come in swing. They have spent over $100 million on new players, such as youngsters like Nico Williams from Liverpool, Omar Richards from Bayern Munich. They've got an established center back from the Bundesliga, Jesse Lingard, who has been hot and cold for Man United and West Ham in recent seasons, and have also gotten Awoni from the Bundesliga, played in Union Berlin, scored 15 goals last season. They have also got Dean Henderson on loan to play in between the sticks for Man United. So, they have splashed the cash. I thought about putting them even higher. I've thought about putting them lower just because it's hard to tell when you get this many players how they're going to be able to do in their first season together. They obviously are trying to stay up the best they can. I think they'll manage to do it, but like I said, this team could honestly finish anywhere from mid-table to the relegation zone. I have them in 16th place. In 15th place, I've put Brighton. Now, this is a team, you cannot doubt them. Every year they overperform. Their squad it's not a very strong squad, but they overperform every single season. But I just have to doubt them. Now, I know they finished 9th last season, but their squad, they really don't have anyone. They have Busauma, who was one of their best players last season. He's gone. At the time of recording, it looks like Kusarella is going to go to Chelsea. That's their 2 best players, no doubt, from last season. They're going to receive $80 million for both of them, but I haven't seen them put any money into the transfer window. And like I said, I really don't know many more players in this squad. I just don't know how they are going to be able to replicate a 9th place finish. They'll probably figure out a way to prove me wrong, but I have Brighton in 15th place. And moving on to 14th place, I have put Everton. For the better half of a decade, they've been able to fight for European competition. And a lot of people last season started expecting an unexpected relegation for this club. They only finished 4 points from the drop. They've lost Richarlison to Tottenham since then, who was their best player last season, and undoubtedly without him they would be in the championship right now. However, I think they've also been able to make some good moves. They signed 2 players from Burnley, in Tarkowski to fill a center back role, and McNeil to play the left mid side. Now, can this club be for Dele Alli, who has come in on a free? In his last 2 seasons for Tottenham, he's only had 1 goal and 1 assist. However, he's going to be able to get more game time here at Everton. And I know they really haven't done anything to show improvement to the squad, but just the fact that it is Everton and the squad value is there. They have a lot of really strong players. I just think they have to bounce up somehow. They have Frank Lampard, who obviously, as a Chelsea fan, I'm hoping he can manage this team well, but I could see him getting the sack by Christmas. But I don't know. I just have them in 14th place. I think they have to bounce back somehow. It's Everton, 14th place. In 13th position, I have put Wolves. Last season, they were pretty lucky, I'd say, to finish in 10th with the lack of goals that they had, and they just have not addressed that yet in the transfer window, and I think that's going to be a problem for them. Their top goal scorer was Raul Jimenez last year, who only had 6 goals. Now, don't get me wrong, he is one of the Mexican players that I actually do respect and like, and I hope he can bounce back. But he's injury prone, and he's just not the same after his head injury only a few years ago. He's already going to miss the first month of the campaign with a knee injury. Now, they do have Adama Traore, but he's also injury prone right now. He's not fully fit right now either. He might not even be playing the start of the Premier League. So they're going to need to find someone who can score, and I don't think that they've filled that role yet. So 13th place, I think they're going to have a drop-off season. In 12th position, I have put the United States of Leeds, baby. Now, is this maybe pretty high for a team that only avoided the drop on the last day of last season? Yeah, it is probably pretty high. They've also lost Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, who were probably their best 2 players last season. However, they have gone out and signed a lot of depth, including our American boys and Brendan Aronson and Tyler Adams. I'm super excited to see what they can do. But not only is that going to be helpful, they've signed depth in every position, right? They're still building. Jesse Marsh has made it clear that he's still looking for some new guys as well. Bamford was injured almost all of last season, and that was a big problem for them. They didn't have someone up top who could score. I think if he can stay healthy, he's definitely getting a double-digit season again. The team has looked solid in preseason. I've been watching a lot of it, and I'm just a huge fan. I want to see what they can do. 12th may be a little high, maybe a slightly an emotional pick, but I have them in 12th, and I'm going to stick with it. United States of Leeds, baby. In 11th position, I have put Crystal Palace. Now, this team, I'm a huge fan of what Patrick Vieira is doing. I think outside of the Big Six, Crystal Palace has the best defense in the league. And they're adding Chris Richards onto that defense. So as an American, obviously another good thing to see. Now, the problem is maybe Conor Gallagher has left the club. Maybe one of their best players last season. His loan expired and he's going back to Chelsea. But they have numbers up top. They have Zaha, who doesn't look like he's going to stop scoring goals anytime soon. I think he's definitely getting double digits pretty easily. As long as he can find a handful of guys to help score with him, this team could do really good, and I think maybe even push higher than 11th place. But they're on the rise. It's a good club. I'm excited to see what Chris Richards and Crystal Palace can do this season. In 10th place, I have put Aston Villa, who were a little underwhelming last season with a 14th place finish. but they remind me a lot of Leeds United because now, like Jesse Marsch, Steven Gerrard is going to have his first big summer window to be able to go out and sign the players that he wants to sign. He's already addressed their defensive issues and gone out and gotten Carlos and Augustin from Sevilla to help out. They've got Kamara from Martial, who can play really solid as a 6. And with guys like Coutinho, Ollie Watkins, and Danny Ings, goals are going to come. So I'm excited to see what Aston Villa can do. I think they finished 10th this season. Moving into 9th position, I have put Leicester. They finished 8th last year, and I just feel like the teams around them are making better moves. They haven't done anything in the transfer window. The only thing that they really have going for them is the fact that the teams above them are playing in European competition. So they're obviously going to be playing in a lot more games, so that's going to help Leicester when it gets to like mid-season, back into the season. Their guys are going to be able to be fit. They have some strong individual talent in a lot of areas, but all the teams above them also have a lot of strong players just like them. So I think they fall one position this year and finish in 9th place. In 8th place, I have put Newcastle United. They obviously finished in 11th last season, but now they've been hit with a financial takeover. They have a new owner, and he is ready to spend some money. Towards the end of last season, they played close to a top 6 team, and they've bought a lot of new players. But I just think it's going to take them at least one more season before they break into the European competition. Now, they maybe do have a chance at that 7th spot and get into the European Conference League. However, like I said, I think it's going to take one more season to buy the players they need to buy and for them to be able to gel together in order to jump that one spot that they're looking to jump and be able to start competing then with the top 6 teams. So 8th is where Newcastle United is going to finish this season. Finishing in 7th place, I have put West Ham. They did it last year. I think they do it again this year, and they're going to be able to qualify for the European Conference League. Now, they're not a team with a whole lot of star power. They do have Declan Rice. They don't have huge options really going forward in attack. It's just a team that kind of seems like they overperform for the squad they have, but they've been pretty consistent with it over the last couple years. So I think that they can do it again. The only downside to them being able to push for European competition is that they made European competition last year. I think the fact that they will play more games than Newcastle being in Europe could potentially make them drop into that 8th spot, but they're a solid squad. I don't think they're ready quite for the Big 6 yet, but I think they finished in 7th place again. So getting into the Big 6, we have Manchester United. I've put them 6th. They obviously have a lot of internal issues in the club. They do have your boy Cristiano Ronaldo. But it doesn't really seem like he wants to be at the club anymore. He's been trying to get out, but it doesn't seem like they are going to let him. But on their day, they have a very strong squad. They can probably beat anyone on their day as long as Harry Maguire isn't in the lineup. It's just with those internal issues and the things the clubs above them in this list have been able to do this transfer window, I don't think Manchester United is going to move up. If anything, they could still move back down, but I think 6th is going to be where they finish this season. In 5th place, I have put Tottenham. Now, I know a lot of people are putting them up there in a Champions League spot, whether it's 3rd or 4th place. And they've spent a lot of money this transfer window. Big one being Richarlison, which they've spent $58 million on him, which is a little weird to me because they obviously have Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, and Richarlison plays that left-wing striker position. So it's going to be interesting to see where all 3 of those guys fit. But that is a lot of attacking power to go with them. I just don't think Tottenham's ever been the side to have things go their way when they need it or to get lucky at the right time. So I think something's going to go bad their way. I do like Tottenham. I just think something's bound to happen and they're not going to finish in the Champions League. So I'm putting them in 5th. So getting into top 4 teams, these are your Champions League sides, what a lot of these teams are going to be fighting for, who I don't think are quite ready for the title. 5, 4, and 3 for me are pretty interchangeable, but in 4th position, I have put Arsenal. I like the signings they've made. Vieira, Zinchenko to play left back, he's solid to me, and I think Gabriel Jesus does have a shot to go at the Golden Boot this season. I like the signings they've made. They failed to qualify for the Champions League in the last 6 seasons, but it just feels like there's a sense of belief for the club and for the fans this year. And so for that reason, I think they're going to do it. They're going to focus in on the league, trying to get a Champions League spot, if not trying to do it through the Europa League. And it's Arsenal's year to finish in top 4. They finished 4th. So in third position, I have put my own club, Chelsea. We really haven't taken too big of losses. Antonio Rudiger did go to Real Madrid after his contract expired. Lukaku, we've let him go back on a loan to Inter Milan, which I don't think that's going to affect us in a negative way at all. However, Barcelona has been blocking a lot of our transfers. It seems like everyone we're going for, they get them first. As soon as they hear about it, they make them their own target. But I do like some of the guys we brought in. Koulibaly, I still think, is one of the best defenders in the world. Raheem Sterling is going to be really strong for us, even if that means he's taking some of the time away from Christian Pulisic, which, stinks as an American fan, but he is going to be very good for the club. I think we finished third again this season. We're not going to be able to push into the top two. It's going to be a bigger race, I think, to get into the top four than to push for the title with the two teams that are clearly above us, Liverpool and Man City. But we're going to finish in third this season. So getting into second place, this one is, obviously between Liverpool and Manchester City for who I think is going to win the league. Now, I am going to put Liverpool in second, Manchester City to win the league, but let me go ahead and talk about Liverpool first. I think they, came really close to the title last season, closer than I would have expected. However, losing Sadio Mane is really going to hurt the team for me. I'm not sure what kind of role Nunez is going to be able to play. I don't know. I think he still needs to prove himself a little bit. I'm not huge on him. And then Luis Diaz is obviously a downgrade on that left wing position. Mohamed Salah is going to do good on the right wing, but I just don't think they're going to have what it takes to dethrone Manchester City. So getting over to Manchester City, they've lost some of their guys like Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling, but they just have crazy depth when it comes to the attack, so I think they can do that. And they have obviously brought in Erling Haaland, who is probably the heavy favorite right now to win the Golden Boot, even though he hasn't played in the Premier League before. As long as he can stay healthy, this team is going to challenge for every competition they play in. Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, EFL Cup. They're going to try to win it all. It's a very strong team, and so they are going to win the title, and that is my full 20 Premier League team prediction. Thank you to everyone who made it this far into the video and for watching my predictions. It would mean a lot to me if you left a comment, told me what you agree with, what you disagree with, dark horses, who you think I put too highly. Give me your thoughts. It helps me out, helps out the algorithm for the video. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see y'all next time.